good evening, good morning, and good day. Due to the fact that I cannot tell where my audience is at this time, I prefer to mention all matters of the day to you as a whole. Bear with me here today because today's programming, due to a matter of time and effort being put towards my part, I've decided to try my hand at freehanding today. And it's funny that I should mention time because I prefer to surround myself with a abnormal amount of clocks and timekeeping devices. Many people would often say that they don't have enough time. Well, wherever you are in my house, you would often hear a tick or a talk or see a hand moving. That's the interesting thing. Certain people take certain assurances out of devices and qualities of life. Today I'm going to be talking about a metaphorical sense merely of the anatomy of an eye. Not necessarily the anatomy, but in many cultures around the world, in the past and sometimes even to this day, people would say that the eye is a window into the soul. And with my programming, I decided to call it Through the Autism Eye. Usually many people don't like to delve into other people's businesses. And I agree. I don't go towards my day thinking that I want to know everything there is to know about my friends or family. It just doesn't happen that way. It just sort of turns into that in a way. With autism, it's said to be a literal-minded or a black and white type of personality difference. And I tend to agree. But granted, where I was a few years ago to where I am now, it's like I prefer to think that I've added like some blues or some greens or some reds instead of just your average black and white. So when you were to say that eyes are the window into the soul, do you want to see what my mind contains? Because this, you would often, I've mentioned this a lot lately, especially now, due to the fact that I'm an adult and coming into my own as a person. But I've tried for a while now to hide what makes me as a person. But recently I met some wonderful people that truly accepted me for who I am. And there's one person in particular. We tend to agree on many things, but there's one that always strikes true. And that is every human being, whether that be an Asperger's person or someone suffering from severe depression or anxiety, every single person in this world has a flaw, a quirk that makes them who they are. And without that quirk, it's almost as though everyone's a machine. And throughout history, we've seen literature, musicianship that said that if you were to be a machine, there'd be no vibrance or colors in the world. It'd all be cut and dry, black and white. And I'm here to tell you that whether you're someone like me or whether you're someone like my brother or my sister or my mother or my father or even the friend down the road, I'm telling you that it's okay to have that difference. It's okay to have that quirk. the biggest thing and the biggest challenge by far is to always embrace it. If you don't embrace it, then that's just wrong. And it's like ignoring a part of yourself. And it's like, I know if I were to ignore a friend or a family member, that relationship would be rocky or brittle or hard to deal with at times. So I guess, in a sense, if you were to ignore yourself, then you would go about becoming insecure or not really knowing where to go in life. And that is often very hard for even the most normal of people. Even though at this time in my life, I've come to realize that the essence of normal, it just doesn't exist. And to think that it does is arrogance in a form. In high school, when I was in high school, I had friends. But often it was hard to deal with them because it's like I would often be at one end of the room as far as personality was concerned, whereas they would have been rooms away, perhaps even down the corridor or down the hall. And it's interesting because friends come and go all the time. But luckily, some decide to stick with you. And I'm grateful for the people that have shown me that type of love and grace so far. You truly know who is there for you through the rough patches if they have learned to accept themselves and accept you. Granted, a lot lately, especially now, with newer friends and older friends alike, the Asperger's, since I've decided to more so embrace my autistic side of my personality rather than subdue it, we have decided if it comes out, if it's noticeable, that isn't necessarily your fault. That's just who you are. And being the actual person with the disorder, it can be stressful at times. But often it's hard to find a new friend or someone you can really be yourself around, because often with an Asperger's kid, or even an adult for that matter, it gets discouraging at times because with autism, since Asperger's in general is primarily a social disorder, sometimes the Asperger's child or adult usually sticks to themselves all the time. But when they do come out of their shell, which is the case with me, some things often go with it, due to the fact that they do not know how to act socially. Anxiety and ADHD or ADD is sometimes an inherent possibility when dealing with Asperger's and autism. And as the disorder progresses, it doesn't necessarily progress or degress. You just learn how to deal with it as time goes on. But it's stressful to actually have it. But I can't imagine being the friend of someone who does have it. And luckily, I've found a group of people that I can truly have fun with or without my personality coming out, Asperger's or otherwise. But sometimes I realize that sometimes it can be stressful for both parties. But the best option is to embrace each side totally and equally. Anywho, that is episode 2. And hopefully we will be recording another one soon. This is Alexander Sherman, founder of the InfoVoice Network, and I am signing off for the evening. Please email us at info.with.a.voice@gmail.com. Thank you and good night.